Welcome, everybody, to another exciting episode of Dynamics Fortnite Fridays, where we cover everything Dynamics great and small. Bart is on PTO this week, but we got a special guest star. Azam Zadi is joining us from Houston, Texas. Cool Houston, Texas. It's here in end of August. It was about 100 and whatever degrees down there. It's scorching hot. So you want to say hello?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. Azam Zadi, as Dan mentioned, I am a technical architect, one of Bart's peer, based out of Houston, Texas, and I do what Bart does. So I'll try to do justice to Bart's name here today.
Okay, well, to start out, you have to have a bad dad joke. So you got one for me.
Yeah, I do have one. So I have a 12-year-old and a 16-year-old. So the dad jokes, they're just part of my natural routine. So what do you call a chicken which is staring at a lattice?
At a lattice. Over bridge, lattice, trestle.
So I'll help you out there, Dad. Okay, Chicken Caesar salad.
Chicken Caesar salad. Okay.
So I do have another one. Given I'm from South, right? So there's a lot of chicken and a lot of What day the chicken hit the most?
Friday.
Yes.
So, okay. I got a chicken one for you then. It's like, okay, why didn't the rooster cross the road?
No idea.
He was chicken. Okay. I got one more. Then we got to get on content. Okay. So, like if Kite goes to an orchestra, what's his favorite section?
Humor me.
The strings. All right. Now that was a litany of really bad ones, so the content better be good. So what do you got for me, Azam?
So yeah, we're going to talk today about sort of that I don't know. Audience may remember, like, when Oprah used to give out things, right? She used to do like, you get one, you also get one, right? So in the world of Copilot, I think that's kind of what the theme has been from our product team with regards to Power Platform and CE, right? It's all about these days what we are adding with Copilot, right? So there's various things which are being added today. We'll briefly touch on some of the things which we have done with regards to updates on Power Platform and Copilot, right? So they are, now you can engage with the model-driven apps using Copilot, right? You can go in, actually associate the data inside your Dataverse through a model driven and ask questions about your data using Copilot, which is a really cool feature, right? So think about it, right now, how the audience would be, our users would engage with Power Platform is like, you have to go search for the data, try to find those answers. Now you can do that in more so a natural language query and ask those questions with regards to Power Platform and model driven. And similarly, you can do that in Power Pages as well too now. So as you have data coming through Power Pages, you can connect that through Copilot. So some really cool feature set, I guess, our product team has been introducing in the Power Platform world. The other things I would love to kind of talk more about is what we have recently announced in the Dynamics 365 CE world. With regards to Copilot and field service, right? I'm a field service geek at heart. I do a lot of work in our space here at MTCs with field service, and yeah, I'm really super excited about some of the things which we have announced in field service and remote assist with regards to Copilot. So just kind of touching a little bit more on, three key areas which I want to highlight on Dynamics 365 field service, right? It's all about how we are making the experience to be more human, right? How are we helping the users of Dynamics 365 and field service to engage better with the data, right? So one example I can give, right? Like at the moment, if you're a field service user, and you have and your supervisor, and you get an urgent request for someone to go and attend to a work order. The current experience would be that you would go in, you would identify the person who could potentially go and try to find them. And then most likely, because it's an urgent request, you're going to pick up the phone and call them, right? And when then that conversation happens, that connection of data and the service kind of is disrupted. So what we have done in the new capabilities, right? We have made Copilot is your sidekick in field service. So think about the experience that you get an email and you are a field service supervisor, and which is an urgent request someone needs to go and attend to. Within the email experience, you can go and schedule someone, right? So it requires it reduces number of clicks for you, right? At least 4 or 5 clicks, opening up Dynamics, finding the right person. So it actually helps you in a scenario what a co-pilot is supposed to do, be your sidekick, your service sidekick. So I'm super excited about that capability with field service, that you can just go and schedule someone right from the experience of the Outlook. Some of the other things I'm super excited about, that now the work orders come with this extra flair. So we have added some new user experience. So at the moment, just to give you an example, that when you go in the work order and then trying to identify and understand where you are in the work order state, that what is the financials of this work order, who's assigned to it. There's a lot of clicks you have to do right in the work order form at the presently. With the new experience, which is all in preview right now, that you can actually get these cards that it gives you the details cards, a location card, the financials card. So from right within the same experience as you have the work order open, it can give you the details about that work order. So I'm super excited about this facelift which we have given to the work order and work order experience. And then lastly, one of the things, right, just with the whole AI co-pilot capability, this is something super exciting, right? I think work order become your BFF now, that you can get a recap on the work order, like what was performed, who did the work, right? Giving you sort of a summarization of the work. So it's perfect for service managers and field service supervisors, that they can get the understanding what the front line workers have done in a more of a recap state. All right, so that is a really cool thing, which I think our product team, Hector and Lily and the leadership has done regarding incorporating real benefits of Copilot and inside field service. So yeah, some of the really cool, exciting stuff coming. Our audience, should I highly encourage them to go and in their sandbox and stuff and configure a preview capabilities and try to play around with it. Dan, what else would you like to kind of know in regards to CE and field service? I think some of those areas which I wanted to cover, I think we kind of just talked about that.
Yeah, just you want to drill in about more co-pilots for Power Apps, maybe? Drill into that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So I mean, the availability of sort of in the custom connectors and solutions now, and the environment variable secrets is, I think, is some of the cool features which we have just GA now. It's not in preview. I think it's general availability as of a week or so ago now. That you can get custom connectors inside solutions, which was not a possibility before. So if you had a custom connector, you had to go separately deploy that environment. So now the custom connectors are solution aware. You can also, so one of the other things which we have done, that we have created these environment variables, right, and deploy those environment variables in Azure Key Vault. So that's a bit of a security thing. It helps you kind of secure your environment from environment variables and putting them in Azure Key Vault. And then lastly, there was another requested feature. I think it's a connector activity logs that was not available. So that's another thing which has been added as a GA recently.
Okay. Looks like there's some more Power Pages enhancements too, which makes it a whole lot easier, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then monitoring of your cloud flows and the August release also has an update with regards to Power Automate for desktop, right? So those are sort of all the key capabilities which we have introduced in Power Platform in since the last show.
Yep. And so there's a list of new connectors there that are out with that, so you might want to just go through those.
That's an always evolving space, right? Like there was 900 a few months ago. There's 1,000 plus now. So yeah, that's a really hard thing to kind of keep up on. But yeah, I think now we're kind of closing on almost 1,100 connectors, which are part of the Power Platform ecosystem.
Yeah, it just seems like yesterday it was like we were talking about 200, and we thought that was a lot. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I cannot keep up. Every time I go and the PowerPoints and stuff we have is usually incorrect. Like the data has moved on in number of the connectors we have.
Yeah, and it looks like there's some mixed reality updates too for frontline workers. So
yeah, the mixed reality stuff is super cool, right? So I mean, it's a constant thing which we are adding on to mixed reality. Though some of those updates are that you have 3 different ways of empowering and engaging with regards to remote assist and mixed reality. So really cool features which we have added on the remote assist side.
Yeah, kind of fusing kind of the remote assisting guides together as one now too.
Yeah,
which just
that
makes
is
it simpler. Yeah.
Yep. That's a good. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah. So what we're doing is that the guide and remote assist used to be sort of like a different experience with regards to how they were deployed and how the users were engaging with them. And now it's kind of been one experience now. So remote assist and guides are one part of the one ecosystem and one SKU moving forward.
Yeah, being a field service geek, you got to be loving the mixed reality, right? Just makes
It
life so
is.
much easier.
Absolutely, and in the space I operate in the oil and gas space, there's a tremendous amount of need for something like this, right? So think about like the oil fields are 100 miles apart from each other sometimes, and sometimes you have to go out there to do one little thing, which you potentially could have assisted someone else using remote assist, right? So
Yeah.
there are a tremendous amount of benefits for our customers in this space.
And it's dangerous out there. I mean, this is big, heavy, dangerous equipment too. So yeah, there's safety issues too. I don't know what I'm doing, so I can make sure I don't hurt myself, type of thing. So
yeah, exactly. And it gives you flexibility, right? When you're dealing with this Texas heat, which we've been getting for past 2 months or so now, right? If you don't have to be outside, I think it definitely helps you to from the comfort of AC that you're able to resolve some of those issues.
Yeah. It's like being from Minnesota, I can't imagine that, right? I'd melt like a snowman.
So you guys have the reverse of the problem, right? In the winter
exactly.
months.
We can just put on more clothes when it's cold, right? There's just so much you can remove, and not get arrested.
Good one. That's a good one there.
Another bad dad joke. So no, a lot of good content, a lot of good topics here. So, Azam, well done. I'm going to go and start talking about what's new in HR and retail and projects. So, actually, for the folks that saw last week, we had the 10.0.36 update, and I was kind of splitting these up. So I did finance last week. This week, I'm going to do. Or I did a supply chain last week. I'm going to do the platform and finance and what's new in the project ops space. And so kind of breaking that up a little bit so it's just more manageable chunks so we can get into that. So first of all, not a ton of new updates for project operations that are resource non-stock based. Remember, there's 3 types of project operations. There's light, there's resource non-stocked, and there's stock based, right? And the stock based is basically is the old project project accounting module within D365 finance and supply chain. But there's no updates for the stock base, so it's like there's just some small updates here for the non-stock resource base. So first of all, there's just an enhanced subcontracting invoice verification. So what this allows you to do is, like, if you have a subcontractor doing outside work for you that you're managing, you'll have a purchase order for them if they deliver their services. You want to manage, it's like, okay, what's the purchase order? What's the invoices for what they actually delivered on that project? So now we can actually do that online and make the more accurate verification of those invoices from those, instead of going to the back and the back end. We can actually do that from the project base. And there's a bunch of quality updates, or if you will, bug fixes that you might want to look through too. And lastly, these features are turning on by default now, so just be aware of that. So they're older features that are going to be automatically set for enabled like in September that are coming on. So just be aware of that. Not a ton on the project operations resource base, and just a little bit on the light too. So on the subcontracting, they have the same thing with the invoice verification, right? So they can actually match that out without having to go into the finance and supply chain components into that. But what they've added is now some project budget and management stuff. And so this is going to allow you to actually just create the project budget period. So as you can actually say, you can bucketize these periods, not unlike a financial period, right? So budget those, and then you can actually time phase. It's like, okay, what budget and how we're going to actually do our cash flow as we're going through this different project, because it's like it might be cash intensive and heavy on the very front end or the back end, or maybe kind of like a bell curve. But you need to start actually planning for that and start budgeting and forecasting for that cash flow. That, of course, we're going to use in our AI. So the financial AI models to actually model out your cash flow. And the last thing is, it's like you can actually during the revisions, you can actually budget when you copy over a budget plan to the actual budget lines, right? And then you actually start executing on it. So you have a plan. Here's the actual project. We have a budget against this. Then we have actuals. Sometimes you have a line that doesn't go across, or you didn't actually plan for in the budget, so it'll actually match to something that it wasn't on a budget line. So it just simplifies us. Like, okay, where does this go? What bucket does this go into? So some nice things for budget and workflow planning on that. It doesn't seem like a major feature, but it is. And then of course there's some quality updates within the Project Ops Lite too. So now in the platform updates, like sometimes on some of these updates, we just get a ton of platform updates. But on this one, there's only one feature on this, and that is, it's a job history cleanup. Now, historically, that's been a 90 days. It'll automatically delete them. But now you can actually set a function to delete those earlier. So if you just want to clean out your system, and you can actually have a batch run on whatever whatever term that you want to have that done on the platform update. So surprisingly little on these updates. Sometimes they're just huge, massive user interface changes that we see within that. But not this time, not in 10.0.36. When we have the next October update, I'm sure we're going to have a lot more that we're going to be talking about. So that's going to lead us to finance. So there's, of course, this is a fairly reasonable set of features that was released under finance. So the first thing is, this is an enabled check validation, right? So you can have like a set of checks if you're paying your payables, and you have a set of checks. It's getting like we're going to be running like 1600 to 1700 is the check numbering system. So now it's going to actually match and validate those as you do the matches and make sure that it gets within those intervals, within that time frame or that date that you have. And if it doesn't validate, it's going to say it's not going to automatically match that, because we have that automatic, with bank and treasury, automatic bank reconciliation with the lockbox stuff. So this allows you to actually go in and validate that check number. So the next thing is we can generate customer and vendor payments from bank statements and reconciliation. So what this does is, like, the journals are automatically matched, right, with the original bank statements, right? And so this really enhances the bank reconciliation, workbench with that. And so the marked ones are going to be automatically posted to this. The blank ones, you can actually just drill on and work those with as you normally would with any payables on that. So it automatically matches up those journals and creates those journals so you actually see that payment from the customer on that bank reconciliation. So kind of a nice feature. It takes a lot of the tedious work out of actually doing those bank reconciliations with that lockbox stuff. So the next thing is, it's like, okay, we have improved bank reconciliation components. Let's see, by actually grouping these for match rules, right? And so this allows you to say, okay, like, here's my vendor, here's the type of orders that can go. We might have multiple payments or multiple different vendors that we're going to match out. So you can actually set group rules to be able to do that, and a many to many, instead of a one to many or a many to one component matching. The next thing is just automatically importing statements from a SharePoint folder. So, if you get your bank rec, it's like you actually get it from an email. Sometimes you'll put in, like, automatically post into a SharePoint folder or have it updated into a SharePoint folder, those type of things. And then so it'll automatically look at that SharePoint folder according to the periodicity that you want to be able to, like, have that imported in, and import that SharePoint information. So you actually just set those rules up as you would. The next thing is bank foreign currency enhancements. So the problem with that is, like, so when you run those currencies, like gain and loss, those currency conversions, it's super processor intensive. So sometimes it'd take a long time to run, right? And especially if you have a lot of dimensions. It's like, for those of you who know financials, you can actually have the main account and you have different dimensions like business unit or department or maybe project, or it could be any number of things, any combination of things into that. Well, with those dimensions, you get all kinds of permutations, tons of different permutations, right? Which is going to, of course, increase the processing load on that and time that it's going to take. So now what this allows you to do is just like do the calculations. It's like, okay, we don't want to run any dimensions and just actually do the currency gain or loss, right? And calculate it without the dimensions. So start that so you understand what the big number is, and then you can actually run it again with all the dimensions on. So so at least the first run you get that gain or loss is in total to be able to get that number. So just FYI on that bank enhancement. So there's been some more enhancements on this as well. So talking about those enhancements, it's like the next sections is like with accounts payable and receivables. Again, the foreign currency valuation performance has been improved. So again, those gain and loss, we can split those into different batches, so we can actually run those instead of all at once, and that'll increase performance of course as well. The next thing is we can use time zone option on the bank import page for the BAI2 format, right? And so the BAI2 format, I believe, is like developed in the 70s as a communication standard for lockbox, right? So it's the BAI2 standard. So what this will allow you to do is it'll actually read the date on there from the statement itself. So so it'll be like that the time zone from that import page when you have that. Otherwise, before it was a manual process, they would actually, or just put the time zone you would when you actually running the process itself. So that would actually be a something that the user would do when they actually run that. So the next thing is, let's see, financial tags for sales document. This is a really nice feature because I just mentioned about dimensions can decrease performance significantly. Now we actually have these things called tags, and the tags allow you to actually have that same slicing and dicing ability as you would dimensions, but they're really lightweight, and so they're really easy to use. And so before we had them on all the general ledger and those different components, now we're adding it to all the sales features on that. So on the sales order, the packing slip, and the invoice document, you'll have those financial tags. So the last two on for big features on this are the collections coordinator workspace, and so this is a co-pilot, right? That we put together. So on this, it includes some of the co-pilot stuff. But what it does, it gives you a timeline of the invoices, the payments from that payer or that customer. It gives you the summary of all the history, anything they've had late, any of the credit, any of the overdue amounts, all those different things. And then you can say, it's like, if they're overdue, how do we actually work that? So you can actually start with an email or a click call, right? So with the email, that's a co-pilot that'll start generating. It's like, here's the information from that customer. Here's where you're overdrafted. And they can put the tone on it. It's like, okay, this is a nice gentle reminder to pay me, or else I'll send somebody to collect it, type of thing. So again, it's just a nice way for for the collections coordinator to run their cases on that. And with that, there's a summary page with that. So again, I had mentioned it's like, okay, we have a summary from that we can have that one-click email or call. This will actually generate that right from the workspace. So it's a nice little co-pilot on there. So a couple more things for finance. So we have enhanced main account delete functionality. So what this will do is it'll go through and scan all the records to see if we actually have any of those postings on there, and say, if you do, how can we, like, okay, here's the things that are related to it before we can actually delete it or clear those out. So you don't have to just hunt and peck and find all that stuff yourself. And the last thing, there's a tax declaration model mapping, right? And so this is VAT tax, so value added tax collections that we have here. And again, these are country specific. We don't have it in the US, but you know, Bahrain, Belgium, Czechoslovakia, Denmark, so on and so forth. Many different countries actually use this. And so what this does, this improved mapping, it just improves performance and memory consumption. So it seems like 10.0.36, we did a lot of work on just improving performance across the board, just to make the experience a whole lot better. So that's what I have for my news this week. And next week, when I go through it, I'm going to go, or in 2 weeks, I should say, in a fortnight, I'm going to be covering the commerce updates, and then just kind of some other features that that have been updated, and drill a little deeper into that. So, Azam, any other thoughts here for today?
No, this has been great. Thank you for having me and in place of Bart. This has been a super experience. So I'm very excited about all the updates on Power Platform and Dynamics 365 CE front. And happy to, if there are not any questions at the moment, but happy to answer any questions as a follow-up as well. But yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's been awesome. It's been awesome. So, last thing before I let everybody go, it's like, as Bart always puts out here, it's like, okay, here's the solution updates in the processes. If you want to drill down some more information about some of these updates, you have the admin center, the customer insights, and of course, release versions information. And the last thing I think you wanted us to point out is like, okay, there's register for the Power Platform Conference in Las Vegas that's coming up. And Max, I think you're headed to that conference, aren't you?
Just hearing some inklings today that I just might be. So if you're there, I'm looking forward to
I'm hearing that as well. I'm actually looking forward to going as well. So I may see you there, Max. But yeah, this is it's a super great event for those who would love to attend this thing, because it's all community driven. It's run by the community, and we are one of the key sponsors of the event. But it's all managed and run by the community in the Power Platform space. So yeah, very nice event to attend.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
Get out to Vegas.
So as for those listeners that are out there, it's like, reach out to Max or Azam if you have any questions, or you say I want to chat with him when you're out there, or say it's like, you've done a great job with the show, or vice versa, right? And
Absolutely.
Max, hopefully you'll discover if you have a gambling problem or not when you get out there. It's in Vegas, so.
Hey, you know what happens in Vegas, right? It stays in Vegas.
Stays in Vegas.
We don't talk. It's like Fight Club. We don't talk about it outside Vegas.
Okay. Anyways, so I think that's a good way to cap off the this show. I'll see everybody in a fortnight. Take care.
Cheers, all.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Max. Bye.